The Maldives, a paradise on earth, a place where the ocean kisses the sky and life moves to the rhythm of the waves. But what if this paradise disappeared? This is the harsh reality facing the Maldives, a nation of islands slowly sinking beneath the rising seas. The very waves that make it so beautiful are now threatening to swallow it whole. According to some scientific predictions, the islands could be completely uninhabitable by the year 2100, just a few decades away. The Maldives is a tropical nation in the Indian Ocean, made up of 1,200 small islands scattered across 26 atolls. It's famous for its luxury resorts, pristine beaches, and incredible marine life. For tourists, it's the perfect getaway, but for the 500,000 people who call it home, it's much more than that. It's a place of deep cultural heritage, vibrant traditions, and a unique way of life that's closely tied to the ocean. But all of this is at risk, as the Maldives has become one of the most vulnerable countries to climate change on the planet. The biggest threat to the Maldives comes from something that's happening all over the world: climate change. As global temperatures rise, polar ice caps and glaciers are melting at an alarming rate. This is causing sea levels to rise, and for a country like the Maldives, where 80% of the land is less than 1 meter above sea level, that's a disaster waiting to happen. The Maldives sits at the front lines of this crisis. With each passing year, the water creeps closer, eroding the shores, flooding homes, and making life increasingly difficult for its people. If sea levels continue to rise at the current rate, the entire country could disappear beneath the waves within decades. The effects of rising sea levels are already being felt across the Maldives. Coastal erosion is eating away at the islands, with entire stretches of beaches disappearing. Some islands have seen their shorelines shrink by several meters in just a few years. Flooding has become more frequent and severe, especially during high tides or storms. Seawater seeps into freshwater sources, making it harder for people to access clean drinking water. It's not just about losing land, it's about losing the very resources that sustain life. The Maldives economy, which relies heavily on tourism and fishing, is also under threat. If the islands continue to erode and disappear, there will be fewer places for visitors to stay and fewer fish to catch. For the people living there, the loss isn't just environmental, it's personal, economic, and cultural. Their entire way of life is at risk. Experts warn that if global temperatures continue to rise, the future of the Maldives looks grim. According to some scientific predictions, the islands could be completely uninhabitable by the year 2100, just a few decades away. Some reports suggest that by 2050, most of the Maldives could be underwater during high tides, forcing entire communities to relocate. And while the exact timeline may vary, one thing is clear: without serious global action to slow climate change, the Maldives may not survive the century. The numbers are shocking. Sea levels are expected to rise by up to 1 meter by the end of the century, which would be catastrophic for a country where most of the land is barely above sea level today. Despite the grim outlook, the Maldives isn't giving up. The country has been one of the loudest voices on the global stage, urging world leaders to take stronger action against climate change. The Maldivian government has pledged to make the nation carbon neutral, investing in renewable energy and sustainable practices in hopes of slowing down the rising seas. They've also taken more immediate measures. Seawalls are being built around the capital, Malé, to protect it from storm surges and flooding. Some islands have begun artificial land reclamation, raising their elevation in a desperate attempt to stay above water. However, these solutions are costly and only temporary. Without a global commitment to reducing greenhouse gas emissions, the Maldives is fighting an uphill battle. While the country is doing everything it can to adapt, the real solution lies in global cooperation to address the root cause of climate change. But behind the headlines and statistics are real people, families who've lived on these islands for generations, fishermen whose livelihoods depend on the sea, and children who may never grow up knowing the land their ancestors called home. For many Maldivians, the thought of losing their country is heartbreaking. The ocean that has provided for them for so long is now threatening to take everything away. Some communities have already been forced to relocate due to rising waters, and many fear they will have to leave the Maldives altogether if things don't improve. Imagine being told that your entire homeland could vanish, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. This isn't just a crisis for the Maldives Maldives, it's a crisis for humanity. It's a stark reminder of how connected we are to our environment and how vulnerable we are when nature turns against us. If you found this video important, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.